Hello, and welcome to the Original Remake Podcast, a show where we take the role of Hollywood executives shamelessly exploiting your nostalgia for money. My name is Pat, and I'm here with Amy,
Hello.
Andrea,
Hello.
and Nick.
Oh, hi.
And today is the end of round randomizer episode. We're going to discuss the highlights and lowlights from the round, talk about what we've been watching recently, and answer some audience questions. Hey everyone, this is Editor Pat here. Just want to quickly jump in before we start the episode. Well, everyone on the cast is going on vacation in May. Amy and I are going in the beginning of May, and then Nick and Andrew will be going at the end of May. So there will be a slight delay in the premiere of season 4, just a couple of extra weeks, but you will see the first episode of season 4 premiere about the middle of May. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you in 4 weeks. Now back to the episode. All right, so let's jump right into it with kind of discussing the last round. Obviously, we do our favorite and least favorite. Let's start off with favorite movies of the round. Who wants to go first?
Amy,
that sounds like you.
But I can't choose mine.
You cannot choose yours. Those are the rules.
All right, so my favorite movie of the round.
You know it was Masterminds.
For being able to remake it, just being able to watch it more than once. I'd put Jupiter Ascending. That was my pick.
Okay. That's
yeah,
not what I expected.
That's a choice. It's
a choice.
It is very much a choice. Well, I
out of the 4 picks, it was my choice.
That's fair. I picked your movie, Amy, Dog Soldiers. And I had a feeling as soon as we picked the episodes for the round that was going to be my favorite because I remember loving it and it held up good enough. It's just a great
good
movie.
Enough. That's what I want to hear. It was good enough.
He said held up good enough.
No, it was good.
That was my favorite movie of the round too.
Yay.
But also not because it's something that was a good movie to watch, but also
Are you saying it wasn't a good movie to watch?
It was a good movie to watch, but also it had it had things that we could remake about it.
Yeah. Okay.
And Nick, what was your pick of the round?
Masterminds.
Can't pick your own movie.
Can't
pick your own movie,
I
and
know.
even if you could, you'd be lying.
Yes,
you'd
yes,
be
I
out of your damn mind wrong.
I would absolutely be lying. I warned y'all that Masterminds was a bad movie.
Yeah, it was.
That's fine. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Dog Soldiers. It was great. I wanted to hate it. Like 30 seconds in, I'm like, oh man. 30 seconds in, I'm just like, oh God, what are we watching?
The title really makes it
B movie.
It's what?
A B movie.
Well, the title makes it seem like it's going to be something crappier than it really is. And then when it's not, you're just like, oh, well, I'm pleasantly surprised.
And I could suspend enough disbelief or ignore some of the little idiosyncrasies of like sitting in a not moving car pretending it's driving down the road when you can clearly see the trees in the background.
I mean,
not moving.
So we're recording this episode right before the first episode of the next round, and we've had to suspend a lot of disbelief, so I don't even want to hear it.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
It's a teaser. That's what they call it in the business.
No spoilers.
I think.
Okay, no teasers. All right. No.
All right. So Dog Soldiers, obviously the winner of this round. Shout out, honorable mention to Broken Arrow though. Because that would be my pick if Dog Soldiers wasn't in the round. I feel like I always end up picking Andrea's movies as my favorite until like one other movie pops up and beats it. You're like always in second place.
I know.
But shout out, Broken Arrow. Still love it.
Story of my goddamn life.
Yeah. All right. So let's.
Should we just say it all at once for the least favorite?
Yeah, for the least favorite, we can probably say it all at once.
No, I can't pick my own.
Why don't you go
make
first,
an exception?
Yeah, we'll make an exception for Mastermind. So far and away, the worst movie of the round.
The worst movie of the freaking century.
No,
I don't know about that.
No, that's true.
Y'all
I don't
wait till episode 1. There is something worse
You
than
just told
Masterminds.
me no spoilers.
No spoilers. I didn't say what it was.
You're terrible.
All right, so Nick, I mean, I guess the least favorite, you could pick your own movie, but Nick, pick one of the other three. What was your least favorite of the other three films?
No, I legitimately can't. The Masterminds by a considerable margin. The other three were all watchable and enjoyable. Masterminds, I warned you all that it was not something that was a fun movie or a good movie, rather. It had its moments, but
Yeah.
It did have its moments.
Fair enough.
all of those
all right.
moments were Patrick Stewart.
Correct. Yes.
So let's jump on then to the next segment, which is kind of some reviews of what we're watching, what we're enjoying. Do we want to start off with some movies we've seen recently?
Yeah, we've watched a lot this past however long it's been.
Yeah.
I think we should start with the one we've all seen, which is Tetris.
Tetris was so good.
Very enjoyable.
Do not walk, run to your TV to watch it. It is amazing. It's just, so good.
I believe it's streaming on Apple Plus at the moment.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate, but worth it for the watch.
I really wish that, because all these streaming services are losing a lot of money, they're making films like Netflix and Apple and HBO make films that are theater worthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like Glass Onion shouldn't have been released into the theaters for a week. It should have been a movie they made, and then 6 months later or 3 months later, whatever it is, then release it on Netflix as your services. I don't understand why these streaming services aren't going distribution for their films to try and make money.
Make more.
You know?
It makes no sense.
I would have gone and seen Glass Onion.
I would have too. And I would have seen Tetris in the theater because it was so good. Like they even had a really creative way of getting around the use of CGI by making it look like a video game.
I loved that.
So cool. Yeah. It should have totally been in the theater.
Because the entire Russian chase scene, like I'm going to try not to do any spoilers. It's a new enough movie. Folks can get out there and see it. But as with any pseudo action movie, there's a car chase scene. It's in the trailer. But the way they take what to me feels like stock footage and overlay a couple of cars and handle making it look CG on purpose.
Yes.
I don't know how to say it without giving away exactly what's going on. The way they handled that, the way they did that, I thought was very well done. Because otherwise we'll be picking it apart like, oh God, it was so good right up until we saw that horrible CG.
I mean, but it's meant to give an homage to 80s
absolutely
arcade games.
Absolutely.
So like it's almost like the you know.
Oh no, I know exactly where you're coming from. And I'm just speaking back to like the last 20 minutes of Black Panther. For example,
I don't understand what you're trying
CG,
to avoid spoilers on that.
When CG is done poorly, it's very distracting. And this movie had a very creative and novel way of calling out the CG and embracing it.
Yeah, they kind of like superimposed video game elements on top of what would have been shitty CG.
Yeah. I really like
absolutely. That. And you know, to kind of close out like the Apple TV Plus, like Apple TV does not have a lot of subscribers. I think Ted Lasso is their most popular show, and that barely draws 1 million people, if that.
Really?
So yeah, you've got to think about. It's not taking advantage of the fact that you put it on your own streaming services and put it in theaters. I think companies need to think about the idea that like, hey, people like my cousin has canceled Netflix. Very few of us have Apple TV Plus. The opportunity to go see a film in the theaters is a good opportunity where you don't have to buy Apple Plus if you don't want to, and then you can still pay your X amount of money to go see it in the movies, right?
Yeah.
I think that these streaming services can do one of two things above and beyond offering it in the theaters to still get that kind of draw. I think the first is what Disney tried to do in the beginning with
They did it with Mulan, and they charged people like $20 to watch it at home. That's already on top of the $14.99 that you needed to have in order to get Disney Plus.
Right. No. So similar to that, where you can offer a per view fee, like other services like Vudu and otherwise,
like
Amazon Prime.
Wait for it. Pay per view.
Yeah. So
just renting it, right? Like put it on Amazon and say you can rent it for $10 or whatever.
Right. And that actually leads me into the second thing I was thinking. Is syndication dead? Can you license it to other platforms? What's wrong with Apple Plus licensing Tetris over to Netflix and other streaming services and taking a royalty or a commission? Like, why not? Just because they're not your audience.
I think in that case, you're giving a competitor a significant advantage. I think if you have to report to the shareholders and you're telling them, hey, we're gonna let our direct competitor have this so that people don't have to buy Apple Plus to do that, even though you might be making it, a decent amount of money. I don't, shareholders probably don't want to hear that. They want to hear like the platform as a whole is growing because it has a lot of stuff that people want to watch, I guess.
I don't know. I kind of see it as an opportunity for an Apple Plus original to throw that giant banner up there, beginning of the movie, a break in the middle, maybe, probably super controversial, but also at the beginning of the credits, throw up brought to you by Apple Plus, for example. And you're on a Netflix platform wondering why you're sitting there with Netflix that hasn't delivered you new content. And Apple Plus has just showed up with this amazing movie.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's if I was watching that and I was watching it on Netflix and at the end of the credits it said brought to you by Apple TV or whatever, I'd be like, oh, cool. I'm watching this on Netflix. Why do I care?
Right. But I think the important bit is to do it strategically, something that has good draw, something that is going to be a heavy hitter like Tetris probably will be,
But why would you spend the money to get Apple Plus when let's say you like the Umbrella Academy, you like Lock and Key, you like Stranger Things and all the other Unbreakable, Kimmy Schmidt and all those other weird shows on Netflix. Let's say you like that stuff, but you wouldn't normally get Apple Plus.
Then it's a win-win.
Right. But it's like, why would Apple waste their time syndicating it to Netflix when they could lure you in that way by getting you hooked on that one movie?
So I see it both ways. So you can still deliver your content and still get your brand recognition out there, even if the person has no intention of switching services or adding an additional service. You still expand your brand recognition, which is a huge marketing win.
Yeah, but there's other ways you can do it besides using someone else's streaming platform.
And then you also get paid for it. You're generating revenue that you otherwise would not have the potential of generating because Netflix has a much larger following than what you have.
Do you really think that Apple wouldn't charge Netflix an arm and a leg?
Absolutely.
But them saying they would. And I think it would be to the point where, Netflix would be like, fuck you, I'm not going to pay that.
Yeah. Netflix paid like $500 million to get 3 Knives Out sequels. So that tells you how much they're willing to waste money. Here's the actual answer. Apple has more money than God. They should just buy They should just buy Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, don't say that, because that is the society I do not want to live in. Removing competition in the streaming space, no, thank you.
Yeah, fair. All right, we talked about streaming a lot. Tetris, I think we all enjoyed it. The only thing I would say, which is a minor knock against it, is movies like this have a habit of making the end of the movie kind of a chase scene for the climactic, to make the climax a little more entertaining. Argo does this where they're trying to catch him, but they get away on the plane. In reality, they just walked onto the plane and got away. Films like Imitation Game add dramatic elements that are inaccurate, or at least inaccurate to people who've read the book it's based on, to try and drum up the character drama and the tension that just doesn't need to be there. I understand why they do it though, and I think it's a minor thing, but that's really my only dislike about the film is that car chase, which is highly entertaining and very funny, just is not accurate at all, even remotely.
It doesn't make sense.
True, I guess. Yeah. So, but again, what do when you're selling the movie to Apple TV, it's like, yeah, so what's the climax of the movie? They just drive away in a car. Oh, okay.
This movie has everything. It has 80s nostalgia and video games and Nintendo. The Switch is great. Like it's got everything, even car chase scenes and a mad dash to get on an airplane to escape Mother Russia. Like, yeah, I can see that pitch meeting.
Fair, yeah. Other movies I've watched. I didn't go with Amy. You were working. I'm sorry. I went and saw John Wick 4.
Do not say a word. It's on our to watch list.
It was great.
It was a movie.
It wasn't as good as 2 and 3 in my opinion, but there are a couple of spectacular action scenes. That one specifically that goes over the top in a Minority Report-esque kind of style where like
I see
the camera's following you above the rooms. And it's really, really good. I think it's way too long. It's like, it's almost 3 hours long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it almost feels like 2 movies in one, but I really love I really love all the characters they introduce. John Wick seems to be this franchise that always introduces amazing characters and then never brings them back for the next movie. So they did the same here, and I'm hoping we get maybe a couple spin-offs with specifically one of the characters. I believe her name is Akira in the movie. She's fantastic, and then she just kind of disappears halfway through and never shows up again. So
I really do want to see spin-offs. I do want to see more depth in the John Wick universe. I think there's just so much opportunity there.
There's 2 TV shows that are coming out.
Excellent.
That are John Wick. However, they're not side characters from the movies. One's called The Ballerina, which is literally about that ballerina in like number 3 where they show her on stage. Okay. And then the other one's called The Concierge. The Continental. And it's about Ian McShane's character establishing the hotel in New York.
I did hear about that one.
So that sounds interesting. I wish that I want Common to come into the series. Halle Berry's not in this one. They have a separate character in John Wick 4 that also has a dog, and I'm like, why is this not Halle? Why is this not Halle Berry? Like, why is there another dude with another dog? His origin's not explained. Like, it's very strange, but.
Too much away.
No, I'm not giving too much away. It's in the trailers. There's a dude with a dog in the trailer.
Okay.
But yeah, John Wick 4 is worth seeing if you like John Wick.
We recently saw Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. That was a lot of fun.
It was fun. It was an enjoyable movie for sure.
Mm-hmm. I liked it.
There are probably quite a few nods that went right over my head for those that are hardcore D&D players.
Maybe not even hardcore D&D players.
Yeah, we've played like
2 games.
So like, all in all, though, it was a really good watch. If anybody has the opportunity to go and see it, I highly recommend it.
So I think that's a good selling point, because if you get the jokes, that's great. But if the movie functions without that, I think that's important, right?
Yes. It's not just a giant 2-hour long fan service. It's not. It has its own story. It has its own depth, and it is fun. It is absolutely fun. But you can tell as someone who's like super green to the D&D side of life, that there are nods to some specific D&D details, or
like they mentioned Baldur's Gate.
Well, sure, yeah, but like name of town in the middle of a movie, it's not gonna make a difference to the outcome of the movie or how we play things. But
someone who does play D&T will be like, "Oh my god, they did the
thing!" Yeah. So, no, it's very enjoyable.
All right, fair enough. And then kind of the last movie we want to talk about, but very briefly, is Ant-Man 3, Quantumania.
The CGI fest starring Paul Rudd.
Yes. Which I thought was fine, but in all capital letters, so everyone knows it's a very aggressive fine.
Yeah, I would agree. It was just okay.
I think it's damning to the movie to say all of my favorite characters were like the side characters.
Yeah.
Like who?
Yeah.
Like all of the people who lived in Quantumania, like the dude with the weird head and the lady with the stick.
Oh, I thought the weird head was really annoying. He creeped me out.
My favorite character is the Ooze.
Oh yes,
guy.
Absolutely.
You have holes. That was great. I loved that character too.
Yeah.
But everything else was just meh.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a symptom of going to a Marvel movie and expecting more depth, more interplay between the other movies, more,
or whether it's superhero fatigue actually setting in and not just a buzzword for the film community.
Yeah, I don't.
It's probably a mix of both. Really, the only stellar film that Marvel has put out post Endgame for me is Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, which is incredible, like one of my favorite of the Marvel films.
If I had a nickel for every time you've said that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's true.
Okay. It's
on this podcast alone.
Yeah. But most of the post Endgame ones, they don't stick together very well. They don't seem to. They're both spending their time building up like a shared universe, but also not fitting together very well at all.
Yeah,
that's very frustrating. Again, it's generic. Like they're funny. They got some okay action in them, but I think this is like peak. This is a Endgame. I think will end up being peak Marvel, right?
I think so. But I will say, like, Spider-Man No Way Home.
That was fun.
That was a good one.
I like that.
I don't think it holds up to the same level as like the initial introduction to the Tom Holland Spider-Man.
But they raised the stakes.
But they absolutely
did. Which is something that they needed. There needs to be consequences.
Yes. So and I liked that because there was a step back to some of the grittiness that Marvel did in the previous phases. But other than that, there hasn't been much since the Infinity War.
Wasn't there one other one in the last phase which wasn't bad?
I know people might hate me for saying this, but I think possibly my second favorite movie from this phase is the Eternals. Just isn't that good. But I really like it because it's one of the only Marvel movies recently that's taken itself very seriously.
You've got series, web series, you've got streaming series, cable TV series, Cloak and Dagger, for example.
Gosh.
Iron Fist. That just shouldn't exist. And you should take that space for something like the Eternals. Inhumans, that was a really rough series to try and get through, and I gave up after season 1.
Yeah. I've only watched the Caravan of Garbage of that show, which is Mr. Sunday Movies, a podcast which kind of commentates on or reviews something that's terrible on purpose.
Yeah. So basically, I guess the point I'm trying to make is they've put out far worse TV series. They could have absolutely taken the Eternals and turned it into a good series.
Yeah.
And instead of trying to cram it into a movie. That's not the appropriate format for the story they were trying to tell.
I agree. All right. Let's jump on then to TV shows we've been watching.
Seen a lot of TV.
So have we. We've seen a lot.
Yeah, we can touch on them briefly. We don't have to spend a ton of time, but what have you guys been watching?
I finished Kevin Can Fuck Himself last night.
Was it good?
Great show.
Season 2, right?
Season 2.
Yeah.
I've only seen 1.
I thought it was really good. The last episode,
you left me behind.
I did because you weren't.
I see how it is.
You said
no, it's fine.
Watch the last episode, and then if you watch last episode, you'll be caught up.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Nick watched the first episode, and then he was like, "I'm not really feeling this," and then he went to bed, and I wasn't tired, so I binged the other 7 episodes in the season.
So for those thinking, hey, you know what? I'm just going to watch this.
No.
No, go into it with a little bit of emotional energy because it takes a bit. Like, I don't know. I tend to get invested in characters like that. And like, it is draining to watch. It is enthralling, but it is also draining. So I can typically only watch an episode or two at a time.
The last episode, it's really cool to see. So Eric Peterson is the actor that plays Kevin, the child, man-child buffoon. But the last episode, it's like, oh, not only is this character terrifying in reality, but this actor is really freaking good. And it's like you don't ever get that until the very end. And it ends on a note of I felt satisfied.
Okay.
By the ending.
Yeah. We've watched season 1, really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to watch season 2 at some point. I love the fact something that British TV does very well that American TV doesn't is know when to end. And I believe they planned out 2 seasons on purpose. I don't think they're doing a season 3.
Looking at you, Simpsons.
Yeah.
No,
same with Fleabag, which is another show that I love that just refuses to do a season 3, and I don't want it, even though it's one of my favorite shows.
Kevin Can Fuck Himself was supposed to be more than 2 seasons, but they got canceled. And so they retooled season 2 to wrap everything up, which I'm kind of okay with because it told a good story. And there were a couple of threads that were kind of dropped, but that's okay. I didn't really like those anyway. So,
Fair.
I thought that was, there are other shows too that, you know, they end and they end well.
Yeah.
What's an example of one that we've seen recently? Snowpiercer only has 4 seasons.
Yeah, that is another show we're watching right now. We just made it to season 2.
Another emotional slog. But
no, I don't think it's a slog. I think there are episodes that drag, but that's with anything. There are a few twists that I feel were there just for the sake of having a twist. But
I feel
all in all, I think it's a good watch.
It is, but I feel like that, like The Handmaid's Tale, it like one bad thing after another just keeps happening. And when there's like a good thing, 10 other bad things follow. And granted, Snowpiercer does a much better job of, you know, making you not want to hurt yourself. Unlike The Handmaid's Tale, where you're just like, I need to sleep for 10 hours and eat some ice cream because I need self-care after watching this. Snowpiercer doesn't do that. But it just still takes a bit, you know, it's still kind of, at the end, you're just like, oh, need to watch like some season 1 Stargate. There's a palate cleanser.
Just some true like serial style.
Yeah. Something that's lighthearted and funny, and we're hitting golf balls into wormholes. Yeah. You know.
That's another show that we've watched season 1 of, Snowpiercer, but we have to catch up on. It's definitely on the list. It's great. The first season was great.
It truly was. Season 2 starts out strong, stumbles a little bit, and we're about to see if it recovers.
I'm sure it will. We've also, I'm sure you guys have kept up with The Mandalorian. Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But they are laying some groundwork.
They are.
They sure are. They're doing.
I don't care.
They're doing some fine jobs of laying some fine groundwork.
What was I saying earlier? I'm like, what are they going to do when he starts getting like mature and start talking? It's not going to get to that
Amy's very skeptical of the post-child era of Baby Yoda. What happens when you have to animate him?
What happens when he becomes a teenager?
I mean, they're already doing it now. Every time he flips, it's like a bad cut, but I don't care.
So bad.
But like, weren't they saying that Grogu is like 100 or 2 years old already?
He's 50.
Oh, he's 50?
Yes. 50, yes.
Yeah, so if he's 50 and just barely getting to the goo goo gagas, like, it's gonna be a minute.
God, what does he look like at the age of 2? A cell? Like a single-celled organism?
13 years of pregnancy.
Oh my God.
I'm making that up. I don't know if that's factual.
The Star Wars fans are
probably
crying out all at once in horror and are quickly silenced. See what I did there. See, I like the Mandalorian characters. Like I like even if this season is not as great or is fine, all capitals, like you say, Pat, I still feel like that, like I really enjoy the characters and I like, listening to them and following their story. So, and it's not like completely depressing. So
I've definitely
I'm
been,
gonna
I've
follow
definitely
it.
been, I've definitely been ruined or spoiled by Andor, which is the best Star Wars has been in a long, long time.
Oh wow.
I would put it up against any of the movies. It's incredible. So then to go from there to watching Mandalorian, where they actually have a similar plot line in the Mandalorian where they go to Coruscant, and just the difference between the Andor version of Coruscant and the Mandalorian version of Coruscant. And again, they're not the same show. The Mandalorian is not trying to take itself so seriously, so that's fine. And like I said, I don't hate the show. I'm not disillusioned by it. It's just, ultimately, like its ceiling is always going to be like an 8 out of 10, I suspect. Right? Whereas like and like Andor is literally a 10 out of 10 for me. I thought it was
Okay.
almost
Maybe we should
perfect in
watch
every way.
this.
Well, all right.
Whoa.
Those are some words.
Does it
I
have
said
the
those words.
marketing? Clearly does not.
It does not. No, it'll probably get canceled after season 2. All right. For me, we've watched some Apple Plus TV shows as well. We watched Severance together, which we quite enjoyed. And I accidentally left you behind on Ted Lasso.
I caught up.
But we're watching that every Wednesday. Mandalorian and Ted Lasso come out on the same day.
Double
so we have a double feature.
Nice.
Ted Lasso is about a American football coach who goes to England to coach football, but the rest of the world plays. And it's incredible. He's hilarious. Everyone is great in there.
He coaches the footy.
The football. But the thing about the show is it's funny, and it very rarely uses its characters for dramatic reasons. I'll give you a brief example. There's a character named Roy, and he has some scenes with he has a girlfriend who's also in the show, and he has kind of a flirtatious couple of scenes with his niece's teacher. And in an inferior show, that would be used as kind of a drama point to set up some sort of love triangle or to have him actually cheat on her. But the way that Ted Lasso did it was that he just kind of felt weird about it and kind of discussed it with his girlfriend. And so the show is really on top of its game when it comes to creating characters that are not just TV characters, but they feel like they're real life characters. Like, you know what I mean? Like we all look at other people and think, oh, they're pretty, or we have like mental health issues. Like the show talks about that, and it's very down to earth in the way the characters deal with it. It feels like they're real people. I'm having a hard time describing it, but I think if you watch the show, you understand what I'm saying, and if you haven't watched a show, you should, so you know what I'm saying.
I have been told by multiple people now
that's really good.
We've got to see it and that it's good. So,
and you have to make it after the first couple episodes. I think it caught Pat right away because of the football. It took me a couple episodes to be like, oh, this is actually funny.
The best part is you don't need to know anything about football to watch it, because Ted Lasso knows nothing about football. So all the stupid questions you'd be asking, he's already asking them for you. It's actually perfect for Americans who don't watch the sport.
Okay.
So he's the audience insert. Cool.
Yes, and the thing I love about he's like the anti-toxic masculinity. He's always nice. He always takes the high road. And it's really, really incredible the way that they make Ted Lasso work as a character in the show.
Basically, all the opposite of any actual football coach that's actually alive.
He always takes the high road. Like people will make fun of him. Like the whole first season is people screaming at him, and he's like, all right, buddy. You know what I mean? Like he's just so obnoxiously positive.
Oh no.
But in a way that works, in a way that's like, wow, what a, like it's not he's letting people hurt him. It's that he refuses to be dragged down to the level of the people.
Interesting.
There's a positive like stoicism about Lasso. He's someone who's able to deal with his problems. He's able to, generally speaking, express himself in a positive way as like a male role model. Just everything about it is great. I'm going to stop because I don't want to spoil anything. Watch Ted Lasso. It's seriously one of the best shows on TV right now. And again, like because it's on Apple Plus, like literally less than 1 million people get to see it.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And then
we'll add it to the list.
One more that you forgot to talk about that is the most important. We finished The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, we did finish The Last of Us.
We've got a couple episodes to catch up on, so no spoilers.
Yeah, we did not.
That is a great show.
Yeah, we've talked about it in other randomizers because I think it was just starting in the last one. So briefly, it was great. It followed the video game in the ways I liked. It changed some things, but in a good way. Like this is how you adapt something. And because it's good, people are not complaining about the changes because they made a good show. Whereas like Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, for example, if you made that show good, then the people complaining get pushed to the background. But because it was so mediocre, it's like a tidal wave of people complaining, and it overcomes any positive aspects of the show, which there were some. Okay. But yeah, Last of Us works on so many levels. I thought it was great.
Yeah, that's on our list to finish. It definitely enjoying it so far.
We're kind of like stacking up some of the episodes. We did that with
we were doing
The Last of Us. We're doing with The Mandalorian so that we can kind of watch them all at once.
Yeah, we were doing the watch an episode every week thing, and it just got tedious. So we're waiting until like 2 episodes or 3 episodes are there so we can binge through them.
Okay. Last thing I'll mention very briefly is I'm a big fan of Succession on HBO. That season 4 has just started. There are 2 episodes into that, and it's the last season, thankfully. That's another show, again, that could have outlasted its welcome, and I think they're going to end on a high note. So that's a tough show to describe or sell to people. It's like rich people pornography.
Yeah, I'm never really into it. But yeah, it's a good show. But it's the actors.
There's a lot of the dark humor. If you're into dark humor and like the satire of kind of like taking a look at like rich people kind of living in their own world, similar to what's a show you like, The Lotus or whatever. You've watched it about the rich people go to a hotel or whatever.
It's like The White Orchid or something
like that. It's similar to that. People watch it for the same reason. It's like a dark satire about people who don't have regular people problems, right? Like all of the thing I love about Succession is all of their problems are not real problems. You know what I mean? Like
the ultimate definition of a first world problem.
It's like, oh no, I'm a 1 billion, I'm worth 1 billion less than I was yesterday. I'm only a several times over billionaire. Woe is me. Or so, but I really love the show. I love the humor, the dark comedy, the satire. And if you're into that and you want to watch, I'm going to put in air quotes, prestige TV, Succession is like peak prestige TV. So,
okay.
Yeah.
I kind of fell into the Yellowstone franchise in the COVID break. I needed something to just binge, and it'd been on my radar for a little while. My stepdad really liked it. But for those that don't know, it's basically cowboy mafia. Like it, the first season of Yellowstone was fantastic. The second, third had its ups and downs, and all in all, it's not bad, but they took a couple really weird turns with it. And I'm not sure what happened in the background, but it almost feels like the politics of actually making the show got involved in the direction of the show was going. Like, are we going to off this character? Are we going to off that character? Oh no, they decided to sign on for season 2. Oh crap, we got to write ourselves out of this corner. Like it felt like some of that was happening in the background and kind of interrupted the flow. But I also checked out 1883 and 1923, which are like prequels to Yellowstone. It follows
is one of those with Harrison Ford.
Yes, 1923 is with Harrison Ford and what's her
Helen
name?
Mirren.
Helen Mirren. Thank you.
Really interesting.
Yes. It is also very good. I'm currently in the middle of that right now, but yeah, no complaints. It follows the Dutton family that is in Yellowstone. 1883 is basically the foundation of the ranch. 1923 is like right in the middle. And Yellowstone is current modern day.
Gotcha.
And it's a nice little like sneak peek, if you will, into the life of someone that went on the Oregon Trail and made something for themselves, and now their descendants are fighting like hell to keep it, even in the face of logic sometimes. So like, it's definitely interesting, but it's not really in my wheelhouse. I honestly wouldn't have stuck with it if I weren't at home sick with nothing else to do.
That's fair. That's the reason I never started that show, because it got real big. Like, even whenever my parents watch a show before me, I'm more, because normally I'm like the one recommending them shows. But they've been watching it and they enjoy it. It's been on my list. It's just there's already so many seasons of Yellowstone, and then you've got these other ones, and it's like there's so many other shows. Like, I always talk about Stargate, wanted to get into that, and I never start watching it, because it's like I got like
a lot of
30 seasons of TV to watch if I want to catch up with with Stargate, right? Like,
well, Kat, you have nothing but time.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Stargate is being relaunched as a movie franchise, so I could just wait for that, I guess.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, there's a couple really good made-for-TV movies out there right now from the Stargate franchise.
I don't know about that.
All right, so moving on then to the last segment, which is audience questions. We've got 2 this week. I think they're both pretty interesting. First from Brian. What movie would you remake as a comedy just by changing one actor?
This was a hard one.
This was a hard
Yeah, it
one.
was.
I misunderstood the assignment.
What?
Nope, that's fine. It's fine. I'll make it work.
What do you think, though?
Nope, this is fine. This is fine.
Did you accidentally pick Schindler's List to turn into a comedy? Is that what happened?
No, I didn't. Pat, did you?
Nope, definitely not. So we'll put Nick last so he can think about an answer. How about that? Does that work for everyone?
Let's do that.
All right. The first actor that jumped into my head was, I want to put Bill Murray in something here, because he's got that kind of low-key, I don't care about anything attitude. And so I thought, what a great movie to put him in, replacing Jack Nicholson in The Shining. So think about the movie The Shining, right? Jack Nicholson loses his mind. But think about Bill Murray just being the type of person who doesn't really care about anything. You know what I mean? He shrugs it off, and then put him in the hotel that's supposed to drive him insane, right? I think that would be hilarious.
I'd watch it.
Thank you.
I'd watch it.
Definitely.
All right, for Andrew, what did you pick?
I picked Castaway, but use Will Ferrell instead of Tom Hanks. It would be amazing, because Will Ferrell is just a funny man by existing.
Yep, by himself. That's all you need, is just him.
Yeah, and it would be a great movie. Like,
oh, the conversations with Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be so funny.
That would be funny.
I'd watch that all day.
He hasn't been in a lot recently. Or if he has, it hasn't made it big, because I have not seen Will Ferrell.
He got into a fight with his like longtime producer, and they kind of broke up as a business partnership.
Really?
He's also super old now.
That's
okay.
There, yeah.
Like, what, in his 60s?
Yeah, but Bill Murray's still old and he's still rocking it.
That's true.
Yeah. I think we are past prime Will Ferrell, though. He's had a lot of comedies come out in like the last 5 years that are like not particularly entertaining to me.
Okay,
Spirited was fantastic.
He's 55.
He's like Adam Sandler. You know how he was good for a while, and then
now he makes Netflix TV shows. or movies or whatever.
Which I'm sure some people like out there.
I'm sure he's still funny,
quiet.
but like, yeah, peak. Yeah, like everyone, especially comedians, have a peak period of their. And to be fair, Will Ferrell's peak was very long and very productive. But I feel like maybe he's just kind of like done now. You know what I mean?
Until Castaway 2.
Until Castaway 2. Yeah. Until Castaway with a Vengeance happens.
Castaway with a Vengeance.
Nope, that's a good pick though. Amy, what did you have?
Well, my original was going to be a horror movie, and I switched it up at the last minute. I don't know why, but my movie I picked that I wanted to turn into a comedy was Kill Bill. And to replace Uma Thurman with Kristen Wiig, because she is freaking hilarious from SNL.
That would be funny.
She is kind of funny.
And I kept thinking in my head, I hope this doesn't turn into one of those like make fun of Kung Pow kung fu movies. Have you ever seen that horrible spoof movie, Kung Pow Return of the Fist?
It's literally one of my favorite films. It's Kung Pow Enter the Fist, first of all. And that movie is great.
I feel like I feel like Kristen Wiig is hilarious, and the movie itself's pretty good. I think I'd want to see it. Why not?
I'm real mad at you for shitting on Kung Pow. Like
Kung Pow chicken? No, thank you.
Bro, I think my cousin Brian and my cousin Colin, I think we went to see it in theaters. I think maybe I've told this story before. Yeah. We paid our money. Back in those days, the movie was perfectly reasonable.
$3.
Yeah. But I remember it was us three, and I specifically remember it was two other women in the theater with us, and they lasted like 10 minutes and left. And they looked at us while they were leaving, and we looked at them and like, no, this is a movie for us. We're staying. We'll watch this whole thing. To this day, I love that movie. I absolutely adore it. Ew. I know it's not great, but it's not supposed to be.
You use that word.
I adore it.
Jeez.
I don't even use that word for you.
No.
I just say I like my wife. She's all right, but I adore Kung Pow Enter the Fist.
Fine.
Wow.
My wife is just fine.
Yeah. Speaking
fine,
of
the same way he says fine.
Fine, yeah. Speaking of women I adore, Nick, you've typed something in the chat and I like it.
I'm thinking we do Aliens, where we replace Ripley with Aubrey Plaza.
All right.
I like it. I love Aubrey Plaza. She's fantastic. One movie we didn't talk about in the What Have We Seen is we saw Operation Fortune, which is a Guy Ritchie film.
Oh.
And it was fine. It wasn't great. Fine. But Aubrey Plaza was amazing in it, and I love her. And I wish I could hire her to just be mean to me.
You might not have to hire.
Whoa.
But no, she's great in it. I love her in everything she's in. She's a better actor than people give her credit for, but I agree hilarious
with that.
as well. She's
probably a way better actor than the role she gets.
And I like the sarcastic vibe she would give off in an Alien franchise.
Absolutely. I could just picture her standing there in the mech suit, just staring at the alien like, really?
Dude, why?
Like,
oh no, you're trying to impregnate me. Stop.
Tell me how alien babies are bad.
Yeah.
I could picture it. It'd be hilarious.
Sure. All right. Second question, last question for the show here is from Nate. Thank you, Nate, for sending in your questions. What is the best animal voiceover movie? And he specifically says a non-animated film where the animals talk.
Yeah, that's rough.
So I want to be clear on the direction I went. We had a discussion between us whether non-animated means it has to be a live animal that's in the film, or whether it can be a live action film with a CGI generated animal or mocapped animal that speaks.
And I do believe CGI and mocap is still acceptable. I just think your choice is cheating.
It's not cheating.
It is
like
cheating.
the Lion King movie, the live action one that everyone said was soulless. That would be an example of one, correct?
Yes, that would be correct. And
a better pick than Pat's.
Strong disagree. All right, so why don't we just jump into mine then? First, some honorable mentions for me, because as someone who grew up in England, the live action Paddington the Bear and the live action Peter Rabbit, just adorable films. 10 out of 10 would recommend. But the newest Planet of the Apes trilogy they're incredible films, and if we're gonna allow CGI animals,
they don't
even
count.
though they count as animals, apes are animals.
Okay, CGI humans then count because humans are animals. Like in the movies,
he said, "What's the best?" No, animal means non-humans.
Okay, then I say Planet of the Apes is disqualified.
Disagree, and I edit the podcast, so.
All right, so you took that question in that direction.
The wrong direction.
Well, Nick, what is your direction?
Yeah, so pick? I had to like really dig through the gray matter on this one. I don't recall very many movies with animal voiceovers other than like Dr. Dolittle and stuff like that. And while like the Eddie Murphy one was hilarious,
yeah,
Dolittle, the Robert Downey Jr. one, not great. So I went back.
I adored that movie.
That sounds about on par.
No, that was very good. That was a very bad movie. Agreed.
My knee jerk was to say Babe, because that's the one I remember growing up. Addle Do Pig was like all of the kids in school were saying for a couple of weeks after that movie came out, and that's what popped into my mind first. But I would say honorable mention only because just honorable mention would be Dr. Dolittle with Eddie Murphy.
Fair enough.
Good pick.
That's a good pick. Those films are not quite as good as the Planet of the Apes films, but
I think they're a little bit more true to the question, sir. And if you didn't have your hand over the big red editor.
Wow.
I'm just going to edit. I'm just going to have a cut in the middle of that sentence to annoy you.
We would go to...
Yeah.
And carry on.
All right, Andrea, what's your pick?
I had a hard time thinking of movies like this. So there was one movie that was still like this that was on HBO all the time when I was a kid, and it was Look Who's Talking Now. The second one with John Travolta and some other actress who's not important enough to remember. And Danny DeVito and Diane Keaton were the voice of the dogs. One was a mutt and the other one was like a poodle.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute.
Huh. Kristen Alley is the female lead.
Oh, Kirstie Alley. Oh, yeah. Rest in peace.
But she's dead. Yeah, she's dead now, so she can't be offended that we didn't remember her name.
That was recently she passed away, wasn't it?
Last 6 months.
That's funny. That was your choice because that was actually my choice too. So we both chose the same thing at the same time. I grew up with that movie. I thought of that, and I kept going back to it when I was like, I'm going to pick something else. That was the first movie I remember. I thought it was hilarious, funny. I always wanted my dogs to talk to me like that.
Right? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, those are good picks. She died at the end of last year.
Yeah. Yep, but if I went the Pat route, CGI animals, my second one was going to be the raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy.
That would even be a better pick than Pat's pick.
I don't know. Yes, Planet of the Apes was a really good movie.
No, I agree. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I was never arguing whether or not it was a good movie. What I am arguing is that Pat is coming in on a technicality because they are people.
For the win.
They are super fuzzy people. Like people with extra hair. Like it's not in the
let me put it this way. Would you rule out if I change my pick to Peter Rabbit? Would you rule those films out for also being computer generated characters that are voiced by humans?
No, I think that's literally
then you can't then there's
here.
The Planet of the Apes is exactly the same.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. We're talking no.
We should call Nick and have him speak on this podcast.
Yeah. Special guest.
We'll
clarifying question.
We'll reach out to Nate and have a ruling.
Yeah.
but I'll only edit it into the podcast if I win. Hey, anyways, that's
oh no.
That's the end of the question and the end of the podcast. Thank you all for listening and joining us. A reminder.
This has been Randomizer 4. Everything is just fine.
A reminder that round 4 will start with a couple weeks delay in the middle of May, so look out in your feeds for that. And we'll go off and enjoy our vacations and come back
rested, relaxed, and ready to get it.
Or all sick with COVID, one of those two things.
Or both.
Probably both.